This is the top 10 hip-hop legal moments of 2019. 2019 is behind us at this point, but we have compiled a list here at Hip Hop Legal of the top 10 incidents involving hip-hop artists. Continue to support us on social media. At Hip Hop Legal is our Instagram. Check us out at www.hiphoplegal.com and make sure to subscribe and also hit that notification button so you can get the latest news as to what's happening in hip-hop and the law.
Mr. Kelly's present in the courtroom. Before we start, I just want to increase Mr. Kelly's bond. The state filed their motion. The defense filed a response to the motion.
So I wanted to make the court aware that the defendant has now been charged with sex charges, multiple additional sex counts in all these jurisdictions, and that should affect what the actual bond is being set in this case.
The mere fact that someone may have been charged with other cases in other jurisdiction is not a basis to increase bond. It's not a basis under the statute. It's not a basis under the case law. They don't argue that he's an increased flight risk. They don't argue that he's an increased danger.
Say that the defendant does have additional charges, and that absolutely is appropriate to bring before this court to ask that his bond be increased. He does have additional charges.
At number 10, we have R. Kelly, who is set to have a May 18th trial in New York based off of charges that he recruited underage girls and women to have sex with him, isolating them and controlling what they ate and when they went to the bathroom. 2019 was a difficult year for the 52-year-old R&B singer, known for hits such as I Believe I Can Fly and Bump and Grind, to becoming the butt of all jokes based off of the interview that he had with Gayle King that supplied a tremendous amount of content for memes out there. But Mr. Kelly is in a world of trouble as federal prosecutors in Brooklyn say that he and his entourage invited women and girls backstage after concerts, kept them from their friends and family, and made them dependent on him financially. And the Chicago prosecutors said that Kelly had sexual encounters with 5 minors and recorded sexually explicit videos of some of them. They also accused Kelly of obstructing justice by using threats and bribes, including payments of hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep his victims quiet. A trial in Chicago has been scheduled for April 27th of 2020. The federal charges were brought after 7 women, including his ex-wife, appeared on a Lifetime Network docuseries, which aired in January of 2019, that accused him of emotional and sexual abuse. Kelly has been in jail since July of 2019, despite his lawyers' repeated efforts to have him released on bail. Judges in both Brooklyn and Chicago would need to sign off on his release. In addition to the 2 federal cases, Kelly is facing charges from state prosecutors in Illinois and Minnesota. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges as well. At number 9, we have British rapper 21 Savage, aka Shea bin Abraham Joseph, who was born in London in 1992 and an undocumented immigrant in the United States, unbeknownst to many. Purporting to be from Atlanta from his rise to stardom, when ICE arrested 21 Savage, they stated that he had been convicted of an aggravated felony in addition to overstaying his visa. But due to a public outcry and a social media campaign, 21 Savage was soon after released. But the specter of that case highlights a potential continuing concern that 21 Savage's personal persona, his arts, his social media, his prior public statements could be leveraged against him. See Tekashi 69. We'll continue to watch this case and how it plays out in 2020 and beyond. At number 8, we have the series of incidents that happened at the Rolling Loud Festival in May of 2019 in Miami, Florida. From Kodak Black being apprehended by law enforcement agents initially.
My man, NBA Youngboy in the building.
To the NBA Youngboy shooting debacle in which one individual lost his life. And NBA Youngboy's girlfriend allegedly being shot during this whole incident.
So, of course, just in Young Thug fashion, they're threatening to blow them extendo.
This weekend also saw Young Thug's tour bus get shot up and Lil Wayne cancel his set due to mounting pressure from security officers at the venue. At number 7, we have A.R.Ab and members of OBH being indicted and convicted in federal court on drug charges.
I got my own record company. I signed myself. Check this out. There's $500,000 on the table, man. This is $500,000 on the table. I just feel like y'all got too excited when Birdman paid me my $200,000. Like, that's some real money. I've been had that money. I felt like y'all believe I was broke before I got that $200,000. This is $500,000. Huh? This is type money I bet. OBH Records, I got my own company. Huh? This is OBH Records. I got my own company. I'm independent for real. I'm independent. I've signed myself. I don't have no boss. I've never had a boss in my life. King Ad, OBH, this is $500,000, man. Huh? You count it. Half a ticket, man. OBH Records, man. Y'all want to sign OBH Records, man? Jump in my DM. I sign y'all tonight.
Toast to the Eagles. Come on, man. Give me a shot right here, man.
There's a bunch of fake.
Number 6, the rise and fall of Tay-K.
Song about running from crime made him known, but teenage rapper Tay-K will not be able to run from a now 55-year prison sentence. Delivered, in fact, by a jury earlier today in Fort Worth. Jason Allen was in the courtroom for the murder trial. He's joining us live right outside the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Center. Our top story at 5. Jason?
Doug, the jury deliberated for a little longer than 3 hours today here before deciding on that 55-year sentence. That song that raised the profile of Tamor Tay-K McIntyre in the end also likely played a role in that prison sentence. Tamor McIntyre ever so slightly rolled his head to the side as a judge announced his 55-year prison sentence for the murder of Ethan Walker. The decision came 2 years after Tay-K rapped in his song The Race that there was a case he couldn't beat.
I think it was part of a career move that went wrong.
The song was certified platinum for the 19-year-old, but prosecutors argued it was also an example of the teen's character. They urged the jury to consider it when deciding on a sentence for the 2016 home invasion and robbery where Walker was killed. And afterward, Walker's parents said every lyric had their son's blood on it.
Every time we look up, it seems like we're seeing news about the song, seeing praise about the song, and seeing you literally dancing on Ethan's grave. But you've gotten enough attention.
McIntyre's defense team, which helped him avoid a life sentence, argued that though the song was offensive, it was art. They were pushing for nothing longer than a 20-year deal other teens received in the case, but the jury saw it differently.
Number 5, remember when A$AP Rocky got hemmed up in Sweden?
Go ahead, go somewhere. Go that way. Go that way. What? Just go that way. He's following niggas. Go that way. He's following us. Go that way. Fight, retreat. No, bro. Nobody wants to fight with him, bro. Go that way, bro. Go that way. Nobody wants to fight with him. Go that way. My headphone, you're crossing. Bro. You're crossing my headphone. Give me my headphone. My headphone. Go that way. Give me my headphone. Yo, we gonna have to fix these niggas, bro. Touch me, bro. We don't want no problem. Don't say nothing, bro. Go that way, bro. Just go that way, man. I'm not too nice. Can you go that way? I'm nice. Before I slap the dog shit out of you, go down that way. You're trying me right now. Go that way. Yo, go. Hey, go, bro. Come on. Hey, go this way. My iPhone. My headphone. Go this way. My friend. Go this way. Go this way. You know? I feel you. Listen. We don't want to fight y'all. We're not trying to go to jail. My headphone. He's fucking my headphone. You hit him with it. I want my headphone. I understand you hit him with it. I want to go down the street. You don't understand. Go down the street. You fucked it. Go down the street. You fucked it, bro. Let's not talk. It's okay, bro. You fucked it. Chill. Why you? Man, I want my headphone. Stop. Why stop? He fucked with my headphone. Here, you following us? Go that way. Let's go this way. This is your area. Go that way. We going this way. I want you fucking me. Let's go. Bro, I'm not gonna keep you going the other way, bro. Go that way, bro. Go that way. Look, just for the cameras, we don't want no problems with these boys. They keep following. Just for the cameras, we don't want no problems with these boys. They keep following us. Look at them. Hey, come on. Yo, stop following me, man. Nah, he hit him with the headphones. That's it. He hit me with the headphones. He cut me on my head. I could really beat the shit out of him. I don't even know him. He's following us. We don't even know him. So tell him to leave us alone.
Go somewhere. Go that way, bro, before you get hurt. We don't want to hurt y'all. Go that way, bro.
Também tá ficou, eu vou só der, ok?
For real, thank you, sweetie. Go that way, bro. Go that way, bro.
Okay, if we can we tell them who you guys are so they can
No, don't tell them nothing. Tell them nothing. They don't need us.
Okay, geen chama,
Tell him to go about his business. Tell him they follow us. Tell him to go ahead.
Tell him to stop following.
But they should just keep following.
Yo, bro, what you doing, bro? What you doing? Yo, go somewhere, man.
Excuse me. Did these guys touch you in some
Yeah,
way?
they keep we don't even
No,
know.
they're just
They
following.
keep touching us and following us.
This other guy,
Yeah.
he slapped my ass and my girlfriend's ass.
Number 4. Meek off probation.
Major development in the case of Philadelphia rapper Meek Mill. He is off probation after more than a decade thanks to a critical court decision.
Well, this is such a big day for Meek Mill. He's been waiting for it for more than a decade. He was convicted of gun and weapon charges in 2008, but says today he's finally able to live his best life.
After all he went through, it's about time.
Today, fans of the platinum-selling rapper Meek Mill erupted in celebration after hearing he was granted a new trial. He was convicted of drug and weapon charges 11 years ago.
I think he should have been off because, you know, they had him on for a long time.
Meek Mill's real name is Robert Williams. Today, he was also told he's off parole for the first time in a decade. On CBS This Morning with Gayle King a week ago, Mill explained the hardships of traveling while on parole.
Even if it's to the next county over, if it's out of the city, if you don't ask for permission, you could get the rest of your probation time given to you as jail time legally.
Today, though, Mill was in a much happier mood. He tweeted, "Life blessings just keep coming, and I'm not on probation right now. New label deal with Jay-Z today was lit already." The judge's decision to grant Mill a new trial comes after the credibility of the officer who testified against him was thrown into question. The officer claimed Mill pointed a gun at police, but Mill has denied that charge. Then the judge presiding over Mill's trial, Janice Brinkley, sent him back to prison following technical parole violations. Mill's legal team criticized the decision, calling Brinkley partial.
Judge Brinkley has no regrets whatsoever.
Attorney Charles Peruto represents Brinkley and says she respects the state Superior Court decision to grant Mill a new trial.
She's fine with it. It did not impugn her integrity whatsoever.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart, everybody that ever mentioned my name or said free Meek, helped me get to this position. Meek free, I'm not on probation no more. Yeah, I just wanted to come up here myself and thank all the supporters because I know y'all probably got family members in jail and people going through the same thing as me. And I will continue to do what I do with the reform movement and help the people that help me. So I thank y'all. Thanks for coming out and standing for me 1,000%. Everything great.
Number 3, Kodak Black sentenced to the feds. Making his second appearance on our list is the one and only Bill K. Capri, a.k.a. Deucin Oakdot. Miami federal judge Federico Moreno handed down a 3-year and 10-month prison term, far less than the 10-year sentence that he could have received. Judge Moreno stated that, quote, "Young people do stupid things, and I normally give them a break for that. The problem is that you've been doing stupid things since 15, close quote. Capri, 22 years old, had pleaded guilty in August to lying on a background form when he purchased handguns at a Hialeah weapons store in January, and again in March when he attempted to buy more guns. He apologized to the court, as well as his family and friends. And we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into this one. One of the guns that Kodak purchased was a SIG MPX K9, which later showed up at the scene of an attempted murder. And you won't believe this, folks. One of the live rounds, which actually was in the chamber, had Kodak Black's fingerprints on it. The gun had been fired at 2 homes, including one with 3 children inside. A second handgun was found in the trunk of a Porsche Panamera crossing the U.S.-Canadian border in April of 2019. The rapper, driving with his entourage in a different car, was found to have 8 grams of marijuana. He was charged with criminal possession of a firearm and unlawful possession of marijuana. From his tour bus getting pulled over to the driving across the border by mistake incident, there were so many different scenarios that happened that really showed that Kodak was on the path towards self-destruction. And this is one young brother that we here at Hip Hop Legal hope can get it together while he's inside and finds his purpose and understands that he has a platform, which hopefully he still does have, considering how time is time and people have short attention spans. With that being said, this is one of the top artists of the era, who, if I could remind you, did just get out of jail, I think after doing a year, and really was on a tear from that moment on. I think it all culminated in what happened at the end with Kodak going to federal prison. He had the public's attention in 2019 and beforehand. Let's see if he can still maintain that in 2023 when he will more than likely be getting out of federal prison. Hopefully a changed man for the better. Number 2 is a melancholy one. Was not easy. When I think about Nipsey Hussle, I reflect back on that day that unfortunately he lost his life. For me, I was riding in the car with my stepson, and I was just trying to teach him about life, as I always do, try to give him little lessons here and there. And I just thought to myself, you know what, let me play some Nipsey for him. And I tried to get a clean version of one of his songs that, you know, talked about empowerment, right? Just a few lines that really stood out, and I wanted to convey that to the young man. And later on that evening, I'm sitting down, and I see a news flash that states that Nipsey Hussle was just shot. I'm like, man, what kind of sick joke is this? Who would even write something like that? So I just kind of move it out the way. And sure enough, another update comes up and says that Nipsey Hussle was rushed to the hospital and was unresponsive. And I thought to myself, yo, this feels just like Pac. I got this chill over my body, and no exaggeration, man. For me, I just thought it was one of those people that was like an untapped or unfound gem, right? Because not too many people knew about him, you know. And I'm thankful to have one of my good friends that introduced me to him and put me on to him early. So I was playing his music before anybody really understood the potential that this young man had. And beyond that, I knew about the knowledge that he possessed just because I followed his moves, looked at some of his interviews in the past. So I truly had an affinity and tremendous respect for him. And to realize that it happened at the hands of a fellow brother, also in his hood, where he went back and decided to open up a store, was devastating. And I tell you, even to this day, that feeling still reverberates throughout the community, at least the brothers that really get it. And the scariest part, and I guess the lesson in all of this, at least for me personally, is that even though you may want to help, you might want to give back, you just have to still be strategic about it. And you have to understand that, you know, you're an asset, but you're also a threat to many out there. So you got to always be on point. And Nipsey will always miss you. Hip Hop Legal, my personal brand, Wealth, the clothing brand, Abundant Supply Clothing. Everything I do in my life, I do it with a fervor and a zeal as if somebody lit a fire under me. And the reason why I move like that is because of Nipsey. Because you can have a lot of plans, and unfortunately, they might not all come into fruition. And I'm trying to see everything into fruition, if it's possible, before my time is up. And that was the number 2 most memorable hip-hop legal moment of 2019. The number 1 hip-hop legal moment of 2019 goes to the one and only Daniel Hernandez, a.k.a. Tekashi Snitch 9. Ladies and gentlemen, he thought he'd be getting out. He didn't get out. Gave up all of his friends. Got in over his head. You want to call him a kid? He's a man. He knew what he was involved with, what he got into, and when the crap hit the fan, he couldn't handle the pressure. The inevitable problems that came from repping 9 Trey all came to a head with Daniel Hernandez sitting on a stand and giving up information. Say what you want about him. This is a strategy that apparently hip-hop maybe appreciates, because he got a big contract and he actually thought he was going to be getting out this year, 2019, that is. But here we are in 2020, and apparently he's slated to be out by July of 2020. We'll see what happens with that. Being locked up isn't an easy journey, especially when you're labeled a snitch and you have cooperated. And apparently this is a lifelong sort of scenario here. At least it's going to be extended, meaning his cooperation is not over. And so we'll see what rappers deal with him. We'll see how this whole saga plays out. But when you have the likes of DJ Academics and a few media heads behind you, especially from big record labels, how can you lose? But again, hip-hop has never seen this in prime time, and it's going to be interesting. So get your popcorn ready. 2020, here we come.